Welcome to another deep dive. This time we're looking at the word quixotic.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah, and it's more than just a word. It's kind of a whole concept. And I'm joined today by an expert in language and storytelling to help us break it down.
Happy to be here.
So have you ever had an idea that was maybe so big or so bold that people thought you were a little impractical?
Oh, for sure.
Maybe even a little crazy.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So that's kind of the territory we're in today, and I think it's going to be really fascinating.
Yeah.
So how would you actually, define quixotic if someone came up to you and said, what is that?
Well, if I had the Merriam-Webster dictionary handy, I would look it up and tell them that it means foolishly impractical, especially in the pursuit of ideals.
Foolishly impractical.
Yeah, and there's a little more to it, especially marked by rash, lofty romantic ideas or extravagantly chivalrous action.
Okay, so foolishly impractical. I feel like we need to unpack that a little bit.
Yeah.
Where does this word come from? What's its origin story?
Well, it comes from a literary character.
Okay.
A guy named Don Quixote.
Okay.
And he's the hero of this 17th century Spanish novel. And the novel's got this long Spanish title, El ingenioso hidalgo Don Quixote de la Mancha.
Wow.
Yeah, and in English we call it the ingenious hidalgo Don Quixote of La Mancha.
Oh, so that's where the word quixotic comes from.
It is, yeah.
Interesting. Okay, so tell me about this character.
So Don Quixote, he was really into these tales of chivalry, really into them.
Okay.
And he kind of gets caught up in them, and he ends up going on all these crazy adventures.
Okay.
And one of the famous adventures is that he mistakes these windmills for giants.
Oh, fighting windmills. That's what that means.
Yeah.
That's where that comes from.
Yeah, that's exactly where it comes from.
All right.
So tilting at windmills, you got it.
Taking on these impossible tasks.
Yeah.
Or battling these imaginary enemies.
You got it.
So this one character has given us a word and also an idiom.
That's right.
It's pretty incredible.
It is, yeah.
So big dreams, bold actions, maybe a touch of disconnect from reality. I've heard quixotic used in a more positive light as well, though.
Yeah.
Related to entrepreneurship.
That's true.
So how do we reconcile those two things?
Well, the word, it's got these both positive and negative sides to it.
Okay.
And there's this whiskey brand. It's called Quixotic.
Okay.
And they describe it as the impractical pursuit of ideals. So there's that impractical part of it. And an idealism without regard to practicality.
Okay.
Quixoticism is usually related to over-idealism, meaning an idealism that doesn't take consequence or absurdity into account.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah, so it's got that entrepreneurial spirit to it.
That leap of faith, even if it seems a little wild.
Exactly, yeah. And that goes back to, it being marked by rash, lofty, romantic ideas.
Right.
So in entrepreneurship, those rash ideas, they could actually be the seeds of some kind of cool innovation.
It's a word with layers.
It is.
Yeah.
A blend of practicality and impracticality.
Really depends on the context.
Yeah, for sure. And storyboards, that has this definition of a quixotic hero.
Okay.
And they say that a quixotic hero is someone who's idealistic and battles extraordinary odds.
Okay.
And they achieve what they call ironic success through failure.
Okay.
And they list other literary figures who embody this, like Romeo and Juliet,
Wow.
John the Savage, Dr. Pangloss, Prince Myshkin.
That's a wide range.
Yeah, Vladimir and Estragon.
Yeah.
And even Walter Mitty.
Wow. Which of those would truly resonate with someone as quixotic?
That's a really good question. It really comes down to how you see it, how you interpret it.
Yeah.
And Merriam-Webster gives us all these different synonyms for quixotic.
Okay.
So some of them are pretty positive, like idealistic, romantic, visionary, even utopian.
Oh, okay.
But some of them are more about that impracticality, like imaginary, fanciful, chimerical.
Yeah, it really does kind of depend.
It does, yeah.
Have you ever heard quixotic used in a conversation?
I don't hear it every day.
Right.
But I do remember this one YouTube video, and I can't remember what it was, but they used this phrase. It may have been quixotic, but it was magnificent.
I feel like I've heard that before.
Yeah.
Wasn't that talking about Peter Pan?
You got it.
Yeah.
That's the one. It was about that part where Mr. Darling, he feels really bad.
Right.
And he decides he's going to sleep in Nana's kennel after the kids have flown off to Neverland.
Oh, that's right.
It's like an act of atonement.
Yes.
And they call it quixotic remorse.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like that sums it up pretty well.
It does, right? That impracticality.
Yeah.
But there's that nobility to it, too.
Yeah. A little folly mixed with magnificence.
Exactly.
It's like we can describe actions as quixotic in people.
Yeah.
Like we can have a quixotic quest,
Yeah.
a quixotic dreamer.
Right.
What do you think gives this word that kind of adaptability?
I think it's that we all have this capacity for extraordinary imagination, but also sometimes for misguided idealism.
Yeah. It's like we're constantly balancing being pragmatic and wanting to dream big.
Exactly.
Quixotic kind of gets at that.
It does.
Yeah, it's like you could make a mistake, but there's still that kind of nobility, that heroism to it.
Yeah, that romantic heroism almost.
I was thinking about all the quixotic figures in history.
Oh, yeah.
All the inventors and the artists and the activists who really dared to challenge the status quo and chase what seemed impossible.
Yeah, absolutely. Like Galileo?
Oh, yeah.
When he said, hey, the Earth is not the center of the universe.
That was radical.
It was a really radical idea.
Yeah.
Sure.
A quixotic idea.
Yeah, definitely.
What about Marie Curie?
Oh, yeah.
Pursing her research even though it was dangerous?
Totally quixotic spirit.
What about Martin Luther King Jr.?
Yeah.
Talk about quixotic. Wanting people to be judged by their character and not the color of their skin.
Absolutely.
I mean, that was
in the face of so much opposition.
A quixotic dream.
It really was.
And it changed the world.
Yeah.
It's amazing how many examples we can find just in those few people.
Right.
It seems like these quixotic individuals, even with their flaws, they often drive progress.
I think that's a really good observation.
Yeah.
I think that they really remind us that, sometimes progress requires embracing the unconventional.
Yeah.
You got to challenge assumptions and go after those dreams.
Those impossible dreams.
Yeah, the ones that seem impossible.
So maybe quixotism is essential for innovation,
Yeah.
for social change, even
Absolutely.
for personal growth.
Yeah, and maybe it's like the opposite of being complacent.
Oh.
It's that spark that gets your imagination going.
Yeah.
Pushes you past those limits.
I like that.
Yeah.
Quixotism is a spark. It's that first burst of energy.
Right.
It's that leap of faith.
It is.
Even if we don't know where we're going.
Exactly.
And even if we stumble,
Yeah.
have setbacks, fail,
Yeah.
it fuels us
Yeah, it keeps you going.
to try again.
For sure.
That brings us back to tilting at windmills.
Right.
I mean, it's often used to describe something futile,
It is.
but maybe there's more to it
I think so.
than that.
I think it's not about always winning or losing.
Yeah.
It's about having the courage to fight for what you believe in.
Yeah.
Even when it seems impossible.
You have to be unwavering
Yeah.
in your commitment to your ideals.
Right.
Even if other people think you're foolish or impractical.
You got it.
And who knows?
Yeah.
Maybe those windmills aren't as invincible
Right.
as they seem.
Maybe they're not.
That's a really interesting thought.
Yeah.
So maybe those impossible dreams, if we approach them with that quixotic spirit,
Right.
they're within reach.
It could be that unwavering belief, that refusal to accept defeat that makes the impossible possible.
This has been such an enlightening
It has.
look at quixotic.
Yeah.
We've uncovered its history. We've talked about all the different ways to understand it.
Right.
And it's so relevant
Yeah.
to the human experience.
Yeah. It really is.
I'm really glad we did this.
It has given me a new appreciation for idealism, even when it's impractical.
Yeah.
It reminds us that even those dreams that seem far-fetched,
Yeah.
they can inspire us
Yeah.
and motivate us and lead us to some really interesting places.
Yeah.
It's been great.
I hope that our listeners are thinking about their own quixotic side. What are those dreams that you have?
Right.
Those aspirations that maybe seem a little audacious
Yeah.
to everyone else.
Embrace them.
Embrace them, nurture them,
Yeah.
see where they go.
It's in those seemingly impractical dreams that we find our greatest potential.
I love that.
Yeah.
Well, on that note, we're going to wrap up our deep dive into quixotic.
Sounds good.
A huge thank you to you for this incredible exploration.
Oh, the pleasure was all mine. I love talking about language and how it impacts us.
And to our listeners, we hope you've enjoyed this as much as we have.
Yes.
Until next time,
Yeah.
keep those quixotic dreams alive. You know what's amazing? How one word like quixotic can say so much about the things that we hope for and our mistakes and the things that we want to do.
Yeah, it really does. Like, it opens up all these ideas and emotions.
It makes you think about the power of language.
It does.
How it changes the way that we see things and how it can even make us want to do things.
Absolutely. Yeah, it reminds us that words,
Yeah.
they're not just for talking to each other.
Right.
They have meaning.
Yeah.
They have culture in them. And they can spark our imagination.
Yeah, and sometimes they can even change things.
Yeah.
Make us question things and make us want something better.
Absolutely.
So as we kind of wrap up
Yeah.
our deep dive into Quixotic, is there like a key takeaway
Oh, that's a good question.
that you would want our listeners to think about?
Yeah, I would say don't be afraid to be a little bit like Don Quixote.
Yeah.
Dream those big, bold dreams, even if other people think they're impractical or a little out there.
Don't be afraid to embrace your inner Don Quixote. And, who knows? Maybe those windmills are just waiting for somebody brave enough to tilt at them.
I love that.
Yeah, and maybe, just maybe, those dreams that seem impossible, those are the ones that have the power to change everything.
It's a good thought to end on.
That is a good thought to end on.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for taking us on this journey with Quixotic.
Oh, it's my pleasure. I love talking about language and how it affects our lives.
And to our listeners, thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive. And until next time, keep those Quixotic dreams alive.